To CSE computer application packages. CSE 122 computer application packages for NCE course. The topics we shall treat shall be overview of application packages, use of word processing packages, use of electronic spreadsheets, use of presentation packages. For this first video, we shall stop on the use of word processing packages. It's going to be 3 videos in all. So this first video will be overview of application packages and use of word processing packages. The second video will be use of electronic spreadsheets, and the third video will be use of presentation packages. So let's delve into it straight away. Overview of application packages. And we have the definition of application packages. So application packages can be defined as ready-made software or programs that are designed in a standardized form for solving various problems that are common to users. Now, there are two kinds of packages. One are system packages or operating software or system software. The second one are application packages or application software. System packages are important for the computer machine to work, while application packages are not important for the computer machine to work. They are not important for the computer machine to work, but they are important for the user to be able to carry out one or two processes that are important. So take a look at every system you have. Let's say the Windows 11, Windows 10, Windows 8, OS Macintosh, or whatsoever operating system you have. Okay, this Mac is let's wait for that. Okay, so this Mac is actually Mac OS Big Sur. This is an operating system, and there are many different kind of operating systems. So there is a particular software that needs to be installed into the machine for it to come on. That's the operating system. That's the system software. But the ones that I may not have on my system and my system will still come on, but they come in to serve a particular purpose, are called the application packages. Let's go for example. This is to help me take photos. It's an application package. This is for map. It's an application package. This PDF reader, Microsoft PowerPoint, browser, Microsoft Word, Google Chrome. All these packages, I may not choose to have them on my system. I may choose to delete them from my system. And if I choose to delete them from my system, it doesn't mean my system will not come on. They'll come on. But it does mean that the particular function they do on my system, I might not be able to do that function on this computer until I install those softwares. So those application softwares, they are packages that are ready-made software designed in a standardized form for solving various problems, various and particular problem or a group of problems that are common to users. They are written by users themselves or acquired from manufacturers as packages come in various formats on compact discs or available on developer or manufacturer server on the internet that can be downloaded for usage at a cost or at no cost. Okay, so we go to the types of application packages and software programs. Generally, I have 10 listed here, but there are more than 10. We have word processing packages. These are used to produce text-based documents such as letters, reports, memos. We're going to delve into that a bit more later. We have spreadsheet packages. An example, Excel. They are used for tasks that involves a lot of calculations or for the production of graphs and charts. We have database management system. They are used to store and retrieve information. You have graphic packages like CorelDRAW. You have your computer aided design CAD packages. They are used to produce engineering designs and architectural plans, more important to the engineers. You have your presentation packages. They are used to create slideshows and presentations, which can be viewed on screen or with a data or overhead projector. We have antivirus packages. These are responsible for protecting your software, your system from viruses. Common ones are Norton Antivirus, Avast Antivirus, Kaspersky, SmartDAV, among others. We have desktop publishing packages. They used to produce professional quality publications such as posters, books, newsletters, newspapers, and magazines. We have communication software used to access the internet, like your Internet Explorer, like your email apps, like your Google Chrome. Those softwares communicate with other computers over the internet. And you have your web page editors that are used to create web pages. Okay, so we are going to deal with three major ones: the word processing packages, the spreadsheet packages, and the presentation packages. Hold on, let me put this in black. And as we deal with them, I'll put them in red. All right. Now, word processing packages. Word processing means the use of computer to type text, letters, and various documents. Now, it's a text processing software that helps in various manipulation of text in order to produce the desired document. Now, you must understand that word processing packages are not the only one that deals with text. There's something called a text editor. An example is BB Edit. Alright, here it is. Text editor. I can also choose to type on my text editor. The name of my brother is McLaren. So this is a software that helps me also to deal with text. But it's not a word processing package, right? Because it only gives me text in plain form. Word processing packages does more. It helps to manipulate text, to adjust text, to add color to text, to do different things to text that will help me produce the desired documents. Alright, and just look at this. I've typed the text down, but I can't do more on it. So if I want to do more to make it look nice, I can open a word processing package. Alright, this is a new MS Word package. And let me put my text in there. Alright, I can do many things on it like this. I can decide to make it bold. I can decide to increase the size. I can decide to add colors. I can decide to make it, to underline it. I can decide to represent it in capitalized form. Alright, all these features are not available to me on the text editor. And the importance of this is that when you are dealing with word processing documents, because you are able to put different designs and put different formats, to underline, to italicize, to do whatever you like, you are able to manipulate the text in various ways. You're able to produce books, you're able to produce nice letters, you're able to produce legal documents in various formats. A lot of things you see today are done using word processing documents. because of the manipulations that can be done to text. So that is the basic definition of a word processing document. The text processing software that helps in various manipulation of text in order to produce desired documents. The software designed for word processing is called word processor. Examples of word processing packages are Microsoft Word, WordPerfect, WordStar, Multimate, WPS Office, Google Docs, and there's the one produced by Apple which I'm not able to remember at the moment. Alright, so what is important for our practice here is that we want to generate, or we want to explore some of the features of word processing packages, and we want to see how we can do them, how we can get them done, how we can get them drawn. Alright, so we are going to be working on an hypothetical document, and we are going to be putting some text into the document, and through those texts we would be able to decide what and what so we'll be able to work on some features. Those are the features that we need. Alright, so give me a minute. I have done something before, so I'll try and see how much we can recreate what has been done before. Alright, very good. So this is a practical that I did. Yeah, so if you look at this, we've done a lot of manipulations here. Alright, so most of the words you see here are repeats of the same thing. They're repeats of the same thing. Alright, you see this being repeated again and again, except for in a few places. So I'm just going to take this and put it in a new file. Alright, so for a start, how do we open a new document? First and foremost, if you want to open the file, this is Macintosh, you need to go to the search of your operating system and search for Microsoft Word. If you want to open the application, sorry. So for Macintosh, I need to go here and just type Word. And once I click it, it's going to open Word for me. For Windows, I think you have your Start button here. And close to the Start button, you see a search. You could type Word there. And you're going to bring out Microsoft Word as one of your documents. When you've opened it, you can open a new document, or you can, or if you have a document opened down, like my case, and I want a new document, you can just type Control N to open a new document for Windows, or Command CMD N for Macintosh. So that's how I got this blank page open here. Alright, so don't bother about how I copy this text onto the blank page for now. We'll get to the bridge and we'll cross it. I'll show you how to do it, what we did. Alright, so let's start from some of these features. The first is a text area. So the text area is the place where the space on my white document where I'm allowed to type. This is my white document, as you can see it. It's done in the shape of a paper. This is an electronic paper. Now I'm not allowed to type everywhere. If you look very well to this paper, you will find that I'm not allowed to type in this area. It starts from here. I wasn't allowed to type in this area. My paper starts from here. So my paper has borders here. I'm not able to type there. I'm not able to type on top, and I'm not able to type below. So the area that I'm allowed to type is called the text area. Alright? How do we define your text area? You define it by something called the ruler. The ruler helps you draw margins. Imagine your notes. you are given a plain note, you will be asked to draw margins using a ruler. So when you rule your margins, you cannot write on the side of the margin that is close to the empty book, or you can write on the side of the margins that is within your that is within the text. So this are the side close to the empty books, to the end of the book. Sorry, this side here, they are close to the end of the book, but this side of the ruler is not close to the end of the book. It's within the book. So your ruler helps you to draw margins. To draw margins. So this is your ruler. If you look here, you see this thing. You see this one as well. You see this one, and you see below this one. So that means I cannot write down here. I cannot write below this margin, this ruled margin. You can see that imaginary line there. I cannot write to the left of this margin. Hold on, please. You can see that imaginary line. That's a ruler. Alright? I cannot write above here, above that ruler there, above that margin. And I cannot write after this ruler here. So these are rulers. These four sides here, they help you define your margin. Now you can see that I've decreased the size of my margin, the size of my margins. So it seems my text area has now increased. Alright? So those are rulers. How do you adjust your margins using your ruler? You drag your mouse to the edge of the ruler until you can see those arrows, the one pointing up and the one pointing down, as you can see here. Once you see them, that means you are on the ruler, and then you can click. You press down the left click and then drag to either increase or decrease. Drag to either increase or decrease. Take note, your mouse, when it gets to the margin, it points two arrows to show you the direction which you can move. It's until when it points that arrow that you know you can drag. If you look at this area, it doesn't point to the arrow. That means you cannot drag from there. It's at the edge of the ruler that you can drag. And it's the same thing here. And it's the same thing underneath here. Alright. So that's your ruler. So let me quickly add another way you can define margins instead of using your ruler is to come to design. You can see design at the top left here. Oh, I think it should be insert. I think that's sorry. Yeah, I don't know why the system is slowing down. I hope it does. Okay, I think it should be insert. Alright. Oh, sorry, layout. Sorry. My apologies. Layouts. Then with your layout, you have your margins. Your margins is the first to the left, where you can adjust your margins. You can choose already defined margins here. Narrow margins, you can see the rulers only take a bit of space on all ends. That's narrow margins. You have your wide margins where your rulers take almost all the space. Right? You can have your normal margins and whatever. So that's to help you define your margins automatically. There are some other things you can do. You can define your orientation. That's the orientation of the page. Now if you look at this looks like a normal A4 paper. But if I don't want it to be an A4 paper, if I want it to look more like a poster, I can change the orientation from portrait to landscape. So under layout, I will go to orientation, change to landscape. You can see it looks more like a poster now, right? But in this case, we want to work with the portrait orientation. So I'll click my portrait orientation. Here, you can change the size of your page, but we want A4 paper, so let's leave it at A4 paper for now. Okay, I'm going to come to columns later, but for now, let's go back to the home. Alright, apologies, I have a running nose. Okay, let's talk about cursor. Now you can see this thing blinking here. This is called the cursor. The cursor tells you at what point in the text you are, so that if you want to do an inputting, for example, if I type THE there, it's going to type at the point where my cursor is. Alright, it's going to type at the point where my cursor is. So if I don't want to type it at that point, if I instead want it to come after Microsoft Word, I'll drag my mouse to the point where I want it to come and click, and then the cursor moves to that point, and then I can write whatever I want to write. Others are WordPerfect, WordStar. Okay, example of word processing package is Microsoft Word. Oh, sorry. Is Microsoft Word. To stop. Oh, sorry, I type I hit the save shortcut almost without thinking. It's a good practice to save. Alright, so that's the cursor. Now let's come to copy. I'm going to treat it copy and paste together. Alright, so I told you that I'm going to tell you how I got this text from my document here to this document. So I did it by copying. How do you copy? Let's say I want everything here to be duplicated all through the page. The first thing I will do is to highlight. What am I highlighting? I'm highlighting what I want to copy. By highlight, I'm telling the computer this is what I want to copy. How do I highlight? I go to the start of what I want to copy. This is what I want to copy. This is the beginning. Or I go to the ending. It doesn't matter. So beginning or ending doesn't matter. When you get there, press down your mouse and drag. Drag to the point of ending. Make sure you press down your mouse while dragging. The left click on your mouse while dragging. When you do that, you can see the computer has technically highlighted. It has picked the text under the area of your drag. When you do that, when you've gotten to where you want to stop, you can release your mouse. It is still highlighted. To copy on Microsoft Word, you go Command C. That's for Mac. For Windows, Control C. Control plus C. You hit both of them at the same time. For Mac, is Command C. Alright, when you've copied, you want to paste. You shift your cursor to the point where you want it pasted. Okay, so I want it pasted here now, so I've put my cursor here. When I get to where I want it pasted, I will now press Command V. Command V for Mac, Control V for Windows operating system. I'm sorry, I'm not going to give that for Linux here because it's not a very popular system. Alright, so I wanted it copied like 3 times, so I've done the same thing 3 times. I got here, Ctrl V, I shifted my cursor down here, Ctrl V, and I did the same thing here. So please pardon my cough. Alright. Now, let's assume I want to make this into a letter of containing jargons, right? This will be a letter of jargon. So let's say I want to call the name of my letter. Okay, sorry, I won't want it in red ink now. I want it in black ink. Word processing documents. Oh, sorry. Word processing packages. Taught by Dr. Bode. So that's my name. This is bold already. I'll remove that because I've not taught it yet. Let's assume this is a letter. I don't want to make an article now, I want to make a letter. My letter will have a topic or a title. This is the title of my letter. I want the title of my letter to be different from the text, such that when you open the letter, you can immediately know what the title is. I can do some manipulations here. What's the first manipulation I can do? I can decide to make it bold. To make it bold, I'll come to home. And I'll come to this B here in home. This B, you can see this B here. It's always at the top left hand corner in the font area. This is the font area. Alright? And I'll use this opportunity to delve into the font area and everything we can do with the font area. Okay, let's start. So I want to make it bold. I'll just come and hit B. I want to make it bent. I want to italicize it. I'll quickly click I. You can see that it is bent. But if I decide, okay, it's not good to italicize it, I'll come back and click I, and it's removed. So you can see, this shows that this thing is bolded already. This shows that this is not italicized. This shows that it is not underlined. You can see that there's a highlight on B. So if I want to remove it from being bold, I'll just click again. It's no longer bold. The highlight is gone. But I want to bolden it, so I'll click it. I'll also actually want to underline it, so I'll underline. Underline is the U. U starts for underline. Okay, that's not all. I don't like the way it is. I would like to use capital letters all through. I'll come here to this section. It's called change case, and I'll click on the arrow, and it gives me all the possible cases I want. It is good for you to play with this case, all these cases. The sentence case writes like a sentence. Lowercase puts everything in lowercase, but I want uppercase, so I'll click uppercase. You can see it's put everything in capital letters. Now note, most of what I did it after highlighting. So if you want to do something, you highlight. If you've typed your text already and you want to change it, you highlight the text you want to change before you start your manipulations. Alright? Alright, so if you don't do that, maybe you've not written your text and you want every text you want to write now to have some features, then you go and type the features you want it to have. For example, I want them underlined, I'll type underline. And so anything I type from now on gets underlined, as you can see. Alright, so I'll just cancel that. I also apologize for the background noise from the system. That's my system's fan making a noise. I hope my voice is loud and clear and it doesn't overshadow the video. Alright, so I'm not done here. What else? What else can I do? What else can I do? Okay. Let me see. So these two features here, it decreases the font size and it increases the font size. So by hitting that, this is to increase font size, this is to decrease the font size. Alright. What else can I do? I can change the font. What is changing the font? Your font is like your handwriting. Different human beings have different handwritings. So while we are writing the same thing, our handwriting is different. Some handwritings are finer than the others, and so font here in the computer describes handwriting. So what style do I want my text to come out with? Right? Let's Alright, so that is Apple Chancery. You can see the way it's written. We are writing the same thing. It's still in capital letters. The words are still represented, but the style it is written is different. So you can come to this arrow here and play all around all the fonts we have here. We have so many fonts in the system. Choose the one that you feel is good enough for you, or the one that your instructor or your company wants you to choose. So I'm going to go with Calibri Light. Alright. So we've done a lot. So the remaining two we are yet to do, or three, okay, there's still more. Alright, let's deal with some of these things quickly. Now, there's this thing called font color. So if I want to change this, I don't want it to be color black. I can come here, under font color, click the arrow, and look for the color that I like. I want color blue. You can see it's blue. Okay, blue is not looking very good there. I want something closer to wine. Okay, dark red. Alright, this looks better. Can you see that? There's this thing called shading, or text highlights, or you can call it shading. What is it useful for? This is my document. Let's assume this is a lecture note. I'm trying to underline the most important parts so that when I'm reading, I don't need to read through the whole document. I just want the most important parts to come up before my face as soon as I get on the page. What do? I use my highlighting. I like the text I want, and I go to the highlighting, text highlight color. This is going to give, or I call it shading, it's the same. But it's called text highlight color. That's what you should know it as. The text highlight color is going to give a permanent highlight to the text that you have highlighted here, using the color that you wish. So if my text highlight color is green, I wish to use, okay, let me use turquoise. You can see. So this is permanent. It's different from the temporary one that this is the temporary one. This that I've done with the mouse is the temporary one. But when you use your text highlight color, it highlights that text permanently. So it helps you to quickly see an important aspect of your text when you open the document. Alright. So, which one are we left to do? I think I'm going to leave the clear formatting one. It's not very important. Text effects. Okay, so you can add effects to your text. Just play around it. Go to text effects and look all through the effects you have here. You have effects for number styles. You have effects for words. Let's click on an effect. Okay, let me highlight. Okay, and then come to text effects and click on the particular effect. Can you see? So it's written the same text, but it's added a particular flavor to it called the text effect. So I'm going to leave that there. This is to cancel text, strike through text. Sometimes if you want to cancel text, you can just use your backspace on your keyboard. Alright, but sometimes for interesting reasons, you don't want to sorry, I've hit the save shortcut again. Sometimes you don't want to backspace and cancel it. You want to leave the text on your document, but you want to show that it's been cancelled. So that's one you can use the strike through property. Just click it. You see, He's still left the text there, but he's drawn a line under it as if you've stricken it. The same way you strike when you are writing with your hands. Alright, so the last two I'm going to go to under fonts before we go into the alignment section is subscript and superscript. Now, assuming we are dealing with base numbers, I want to write in base 2. This is 10101, okay, 10101 in base 2. Now you understand that base 2, this 2, which represents the base, is supposed to appear just down here. It's not supposed to be the same size with the number. So how do you do that? You go to subscript, click on it. Of course, you must have highlighted what you want. So when you highlight and you click on it, it turns what you've highlighted into subscripted letters. Now, you need to click out of subscript, otherwise everything you write subsequently will be subscripted. Alright? So click out of subscript and it goes back to normal. Now, let's say I want to write 2 squared is equals to 4. What I wanted to write is 2 squared equals 4, but what we have here is 22. And that's because this one, which is supposed to be an exponential, is having the same size as my number. So how do I do that? I highlight it, I come to superscript and click, and it makes it an exponential. And mathematics students will agree that this looks more like what they are familiar with than what I did before. Alright, so that's that for the font section. Let's come to the alignment section. In the alignment section, we have, let me see what I've done here. Okay, I've done with the underline. I'll put that in red. Okay, I'm not going to treat mirror match. I feel it's a bit complex and we are still working at beginner level. So we'll leave it like that. Alright, so we are going to the alignment section. What is alignment? It wants to show you how much it's just talking about how much you want your text, how you want your text to be arranged. Do you want them to cover the whole side of the paper? Do you want them to be tilted towards the left? Do you want them to be tilted towards the right? Or do you want them to be aligned to the center? That's what's called alignment. Let's take, for example, and this one. It is a title. I want it towards the center of the text. So I'll come to align center. You can see center text. It's also called align center. Click it, and it's put my title at the center of my text. Okay. Let's say I want to make a letter, and my letter is going to have address to the right and address to the left. Please pardon me. Okay, so where I copied this from, it's already aligned to the right there. That's why this 3 came out like that. I'm going to use this one to show you an example of how to do your letter. So after you've typed what you want to type, or even maybe before you type, you can hit your tab key. Your tab key moves 5 spaces. You can hit it until you get to the point where you feel you are conveniently on the right, and then you can type your address like you please. And then you can do the same thing to the person you are addressing to. This is the person you are addressing. Sorry, all these are just imaginary. There's nothing like this. It's for the sake of education. Now, I've put this down. I've shown you all of this so you can understand alignment properly. Now, I want to align this to the left. We already aligned to the left. What that means is that at the point of start, every text is straight towards the left. That's left alignment. This is right alignment. That every text is, or actually should be, straight towards the right. I don't know why. Okay, the ruler here, I think this is what defines the end of the text. It ends at the point of the ruler here, but for this one, it doesn't end at the point of the ruler. So I'm just going to manually adjust that. Okay, let me adjust that as a whole. Okay, so while that is the case, you can now see that they are line right. Sorry, there's still some little stuff here, but I believe the message is understood. Align right will align everything towards right. Now look at this one now. Let's align it towards the right. So it's gone to the very end, and at this end you can see a straight line, but at this other end it is disarranged. Alright, so I put it back to left alignment. So at the left it is straight, at the other end is disarranged. When you want your justify would give equal spacing. Okay, let's see. Okay, this doesn't really show what I would like for justify. Okay, let me see what I can do. Okay, sorry, I wouldn't like to waste time. I've done this before. If you look at justify here, you can see why it spaced it. So it's spaced from the beginning of where I'm allowed to write on this line. You can see it here, that's the beginning, to the end, in such a way that he has given a lot of spaces, a lot of spaces, a lot of spaces. You can see, it's just so that the text can begin at the beginning and end at the end. So that's not the best here. If you look very well onto this text, all these are aligned in the justify format. Okay, so let's go back to what we are doing here. I think I would like to, yeah, I don't know what's happened there. Left align, okay. So that's that about alignment. Alright, there's something else about line spacing, line and paragraph spacing. Now look at this text. It looks close together. They look so close to each other with little space. If I want to increase the space, I can come to line spacing and increase it from 1 to 2. You can see that the space between the words are, increased. So that's what is called line spacing. There's another one called list. List. There are two ways to list. The first way to list is to do it manually, and I'll show you how to do it manually now. Okay. Okay, let's say we have a list. I want to make a list of word processing documents. Let me do that on a fresh page. Okay, a list of word processing documents. Number 1. If I want to do a list and I want the computer to understand that I'm writing a list, after I put in number 1, I have to add full stop. After I add full stop, I have to press tab. So you press your number 1, full stop, and a tab. Alright, and then the computer understands that you want to write down a list. Okay, my number 1 will be Microsoft Word. My number 2 will be WPS. My number 3 will be Apple Docs. That's not the name, but I think maybe the name should be iWork. I can't remember that now. Number 4, word perfect. Number 5, word star. And number 6, Google Docs. Of course, there are more than this. I'm just going to limit to all this. These are what I know. I'm going to reduce the size as well. Alright. Now, you can have list within a list. Or let me, remove this, right? You can see it has reduced the number to 5. Let's say I want to do a list in order. Then I realize that after WPS is supposed to come the Apple products. Alright? What I can do, instead of coming here and pressing the enter key, I can come to WPS, since my Apple product is supposed to come immediately after WPS. Come to WPS, put the cursor on WPS, press the enter key. You can see that it has created an empty space for my Apple product. Then I can type iWork. Alright? Then I can have list within a list. This is a list. I can have list within a list. Now, if you are conversant with WPS, you understand that the WPS software comes in one package and has the documents, the spreadsheets, and the presentation software, and the PDF software. Now, if I want to do to know, if I want to show that I want to supply more than what I'm asked, I can decide to create a list under WPS to show that or to list the components of WPS. Now, what do I need to do if I want to do that? I come to WPS, hit enter. Like I told you, it's going to create a new number as if I wanted to add to the original list. But since what I'm interested in is in a new list, once I've done this, I'll hit backspace. And when I write the backspace, the number is gone. It's adjusted like before, as you can see. Then I'll do the same thing. I'll make another list. Just make sure that you're not using the same format as the original list. So the original list is 1, 2, 3. This new list should be ABC. Okay, so I write A, put my dots, tab, and the computer understands that it's supposed to be a list. I can now list the WPS document, the WPS spreadsheet, the WPS presentation, and the WPS PDF. Alright, so you can have a list within a list. Here I've hit the save shortcut again. And you can have list within a list for as many as you want. Just make sure your new list does not contain the item the same format as any previous list. Alright, within the list. Alright, so to do another list now, I'm going to come to this section here. This section here is a way to do the list if you don't know how to do the format that I've just shown you, the manual format that I've just shown you. You can just come here and use your bullet points. You can see these are bullet points, they are for list. These are also numbers or bullets for number formats, they are for list as well. These are for multi-level lists especially. Alright, so you can use your bullet points. I've used number format here. To avoid confusion, I can use my Roman numerals, okay? You can see. This is a different kind of list. Let me just write nonsense. Nonsense again. Nonsense multiplied. Alright, let's say within my nonsense I want to have another list. Do the same. Just make sure you are picking a format different from what you've been using before. Okay, we continue with nonsense. Don't mind my sense of humor. Okay, let me do one last list. Okay, all I need to do is to pick a new style of bullet points. That's what works all the time, right? Nonsense concluded. Nonsense magnified. All right. And the fact that you've used 1, 2, 3 here doesn't mean if you need to do another list, a fresh list, okay, you cannot use 1, 2, 3. Let's do a new list. List of spreadsheet. I can use my 1, 2, 3. Microsoft Excel. iGraph. Google Slides. WPS, I think it's Google Sheets, sorry. WPS spreadsheet, and you can stop there. Yeah, pardon me each time I hit that button, I'm used to it. Alright, the last thing I'm going to show you under alignment is, okay, it's not under alignment, okay. One of the last things I'm going to show you, which is not going to be the last anyway, is under design, under layout, yeah. You can choose to change your columns. Now let's assume this list, okay, I'm not going to use the list this time. Let's assume this text, I want it to be in 2 columns. I can highlight my text and put them into 2 columns. You can see 2 columns within a page. Now if I want my old text to be in 2 columns, I can start at the beginning of where I want 2 columns and just hit 2 columns there. And oh, okay, it's done my own text into 2 columns. That's not what I want. Okay, if I want my 2 columns to start from a new page, I have to do page break. That's not for now. Right? But if you want 2 columns, what you can do, you can highlight the text and just go for your 2 columns or 3 columns, as many columns as you want. Okay, you can insert tables. If you want to insert tables, you can go to insert. Okay, put your cursor at where you want your table to start. Go to insert and go to table and mark out how you want your table to be. So what I've done here is 5 times 3, which is what? 3 rows and 5 columns. When I get to what I want, I click. Once I've left clicked, it creates me my table. Let's say after creating my table, I discover that my number of columns are too small. Instead of 5 columns now, I want 6 columns. What can I do? I'm going to drag my mouse to the top of the last column or any column until this arrow appears, as you can see. Then I'm going to left click to select the whole of that column. Then I'll right click. I'm going to go to insert. Column to the left, column to the right, it doesn't matter. And then we have 6 columns. If I want to create a new row, I'll go to the last cell. The last cell is the last column and the last row. It's the cell that is in the last column and also in the last row, which is this column here. When I get to the last column, I'll just press tab space, and that creates a new row for me. And I keep doing that to wherever I want. Alright, the last thing I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to copy and paste something I've done before. Alright, so when you get your columns, when you get your table, you can click into each cell and fill it with whatever you want. To go to the next cell, you press your tab space. Fill it whatever you want. Tab space, whatever you want, etc. Alright. So yeah, I just put that there. I don't want to go into that anymore. So you can fill in anything you want, like however you want it. You can adjust the size of each column the way you want it by coming to the column, to the line of the column, until it shows that sign you can see, and shift it. You can see by that you can adjust. So let's say this is supposed to be name. The column for name has to be longer than the column for number. Alright, so and then you can have other columns here with different weights depending on what you want to put in the column. That will dictate the size of your column. Alright, so the last thing I'm going to do here before we go into saving would be, I'm writing a letter. My letter has been full of all kinds of jargon so far. So I want to put my signature on the letter. I want to have a space for signature. What do? Shift and underline. Sorry, shift and is not underline. There is this key after your number key on the keyboard, 1 to 0. You have this key with 2 lines. So that's the one you press. You press your shift and that key with 2 lines, and you press it continuously until you get the length of line that you desire. Oh, sorry. Let me say that once you are done pressing it, you press space and then press enter so that it doesn't draw line on the whole row. Then you press, you type your name. I'm not going to waste time typing the name. I'll just copy those names here. Okay. I want my stuff on just 2 pages. Okay, I'm going to put this in 2 columns to reduce the spaces it's going to take from me. I don't know, does that help? It doesn't help. Okay, I can put that back. Alright, so after that, what do I want to do? I want to save and then print. I want to save and print. To save on the Microsoft Word, you type Command S for Macintosh or Control S for Windows. You go to the file you want to save in. So this is my desktop. I want to save it under my CSE 122 practicals. You type the name you want. Since I've already done something like that, I'm just going to type this name. You can see. And to make sure that we don't have the same name in the same folder, I'm going to call this 2. When I've done that, I'll come here and click save. Or I can just press the enter key and it saves the document. All right. Uh, yeah. If I want to print, all I can do is Command P, CMD Command P for Macintosh, Control P for Windows, and then it has brought out the page where I could print. You just need to play with all these factors. You choose to print the current page, you choose to print all pages, you choose to print more than one copy. This is where you set the printer that will be used for printing. And when you are done, just click print. I don't have a printer, yes, I will be printing. Okay. If I want to save as PDF, I will just come to my file here, click Save As. As if I want to convert my Word file to a PDF file, I click Save As. Come down here, click. You can see it's giving me different formats that I can convert to. I'm interested in PDF, so I'll click PDF and I'll write Export. And then it's exported it into the file, into the folder that I chose. If I want to get away from the file, I'll come here. I think for Windows it's slightly different. I think you have it around here, but I think it's the same color, the red color. Cancel. It will ask you to save if you've not saved. You can save. Yeah, and that's that about that. If you want to practice this for your exams, every single thing I said, note what I asked you to do and the name. For example, you want to make bold. I said you should highlight. So the first step is highlight the text to be made bold. Go to the font area where you see the big B and let's click. Alright, so if I'm going to describe how you want to make bold in exam, you go highlight the text to be made bold. Go to the font area under home section of Microsoft Word and click the B that appears there. So do this for every step that I've told you and master them. Also practice them. Thank you very much. We come to the end of the first section. We are going to do other videos to show how to use spreadsheet packages and presentation packages. Thank you very much. See you soon. Bye.